So in the overnight session, the market has been balancing within Friday's range, and so far, buyers have been active at Friday's initial support zone. So heading into the open, our short-term bias is going to continue to be neutral, which means we have to be open to the market tipping in either direction. Continuing to hold above the 43.51.5 to 61 pre-market support would be a sign of short-term stability, and then in order for the intraday bias to begin to become bullish, we would need to see a breakout above the 43.74.75 to 84.75 pre-market resistance. So as long as the market is balancing between the pre-market support and the pre-market resistance zone, the bias will be neutral, and in the event that we get a breakout above pre-market resistance, that is when the intraday bias would begin to turn bullish, and in the event that we get a breakdown below pre-market support, that is when the intraday bias would begin to turn bearish. On the upside, a breakout above pre-market resistance would be an intraday bullish indication, which can then result in a test of 43.93 quarter to 44.02 quarter, as well as Friday's high at 44.0675 to 07.75, and sellers can be active at both of those areas of resistance, but we will need to assess the real-time situation and gauge the level of upside momentum to determine whether it's worthwhile to take a short setup there. Because if the market is heading higher on broad market strength and some decent and sustained upside momentum, then we could get a test of Friday's high, and a break above Friday's high would be yet another intraday bullish indication, which can then bring the recent balance area high into play at 44.12 to 22, and sellers are more likely to be active at that zone on first test because 44.12 to 22 is a bias confirming zone, and the same goes for 44.29 to 35 and 44.37.75 to 47.75. Now, given that we don't have any major economic reports due today, but then we do have several economic reports out tomorrow morning, the market may just end up balancing within a range, especially if ES holds above the initial support or the pre-market support zone. So if the market is going to continue to consolidate, then we want to see buyers holding ES above the pre-market or initial support zone. Holding above those areas would at least leave the potential for the market to balance within the recent range, and a breakdown below initial support is when we could get some decent downside activity. And in the event of a successful breakout above pre-market resistance, ES could test initial resistance as well as 44.0675 to 07.75 and even 44.12 to 22. So that is the market context and plan heading into the open. Let's see how the real-time situation shapes up and how the market behaves at the pre-market and initial support as well as the pre-market resistance zone. That's going to help us determine which side is being dominant early in the session, and we'll take it from there.